I had somebody at work ask me for a graph that changed colors based on how much fluid was in a tank. As the tank got lower, they wanted it to warn them, and then as it got near empty, turn red warning, just like conditional formatting in text and number areas in regular cells. I couldn't find a way to do that natively in a graph. Excel, you really should add that, but this is what I figured out, a little workaround. Let me show you how we did that. We're going to get rid of this one first of all and start from scratch to show you where I got to. Get rid of all these numbers. Now we're going to start with the tank level of 50% in the tank, and we want to be warned red warning when it gets below 20%, and give us a little room, a reaction time. Let's get us yellow at 30%. Now for right now, we don't care what these numbers are, yellow, red, and green. We're just going to put 25 in each of them just to give me some numbers to work with so I can build a graph. We'll change these later with the formula. So I'm going to insert a stacked bar chart. Now this doesn't look stacked, does it? It's side by side. First of all, let me do this. I'm going to hit my Control X to cut that out of there. I'm going to click in a square and hit Control V, and that'll align it to the grid. And a neat little trick with Excel also, if you grab the corner of that, hold your Alt button down as you move it, it'll snap it to the grid on this side also, so everything fits nice and neat inside the squares. I'm going to color it gray just to make it a little easier to stand out from the background so you and I can see it a little better, and get rid of that chart title, give us a little more room in there. Now it's still stacked wrong. In older versions of Excel, what you would want to do, you'd want to go select your data and swap sides. Watch what happens when I swap the side. It stacks it up and down like we want it. In newer versions of Excel, what you'd want to do is change your chart type, and it's already got it there waiting for you, so you can see what it's going to look like, and it's easier to pick out what you want. All right, we're still going to go back to select the data to tell it what we want these fields to be named. We're going to select tank level there. Okay, now down here, the tank level is what we're monitoring. Let's make that a little bigger for us to see. There we go. All right, now this is starting to look like what we wanted, except for the fact that we see all three of these ranges stacked together. What we're going to do, we're going to make some of these disappear by making them a zero value over here with formulas. First of all, let's get them, while we can still see them, let's change them the color we want. If you hit your Control button, hold it down, and tap your 1, Control 1, you'll pick up the formatting. And what we're going to do, we're going to select the green, we're going to select the red first right here, and we're going to color it red. And this is important. Get rid of the border, because when it's a zero value, you don't want a border showing up in here. This is going to be our yellow value right here. So we're going to go over here and color it a little off yellow. That bright yellow is kind of hard to look at. Again, get rid of the line there, and then go up and select this, which is going to be our green color. Color it. Again, I don't like to use this brilliant green down there. Hopefully this is one you see most of the time, so you don't want it to hurt your eyes when you're looking at it. And get rid of that line also. So there, it looks like what we want. Now what we need to do, we need to make some of these disappear. This little scroll button I've got over here isn't part of the graph, so I'm not really going to go into too much about it, but you can find them right here if you wanted to add one. In a industrial situation, this would be linked with SQL tables, and you'd be querying it, and you'd be getting a tank level every minute or so and monitoring it live. This is just going to simulate that. With this, I can raise and lower this value right here through a scroll button. Okay, now the red. We want this red to show up if we get below 20 right here. So we're going to put a little formula in there. We're going to say if, and if you start typing out a formula and you see it's highlighted, just hit your tab button and it'll autofill the rest of it for you. With an if, that doesn't do a whole lot for you because it's only 2 letters anyway. But anyway, if the tank level is less than or equal to, so if the tank level is less than or equal to 20, or our alert level, whatever we want to call our alert level, then we're going to want it to display the tank level. If not, we want to hide it, so we're going to say drop its value down to 0. So right now it disappeared because this level up here is 52. The red doesn't have a value anymore. If I drop this down to 10, it appears again. Let's skip the yellow for a second. Let's go down to green, and we want to know the green if the tank level is greater than. Now we're not going to use equal to. I'll explain that when we get to yellow. If it's greater than 30, anything greater than 30, we're good. We're going to say let's use the tank level. If it's not greater than 30, we're going to want to hide that field with a 0. There you go. And it disappeared because this value is less than 30. The green disappeared. So it's working the way we want it to. Now the yellow field is a little more complicated because we've got two conditions we want to match. We're going to say if, and because there's two conditions, we want to put an and in there. Two conditions are if the tank level is greater than the alert level, comma, and if the tank level is less than or equal to. Now that's where the equal to comes in, 30. So we're already putting 30 in the yellow category. That's why with the red category we just did greater than, because we're using the equal on it here. Both of those are the conditions we want to meet, and if it's either one of those conditions, we're going to say use the tank level. If it's neither of those conditions, we want to get rid of it, hide it with a 0. So there we go. So right now, watch what happens as we scroll through these. You see how that's jumping around in size, the scale and everything? I don't like that. So what we're going to do over here, let's select this. Again, the control 1 to bring up my properties, and we're going to lock this scale in. 0 is the bottom of the scale, and 100 is the top. So there, now we're seeing some good stuff there. That looks like about what we want. We're going to scale up, see if it changes colors like we do. Between 20 and 30 it changed. Over 30 it went green. Now that's nice. You could look over here and kind of line it up and get an idea of what you have in there value-wise. But we're going to make this a little easier for people to use. We can come over here and add a chart element. We could put data labels on it. And the reason we don't want to use these data labels is because there will be more than one show up. Let me show you real quick. Let me scroll down, and if we get a value under 30, all of a sudden, see, we're seeing stacked values on there. You're seeing zeros show up and everything. We don't want that. So let's not use these data labels over here. We're going to say none, but we still want to know what that value is. So let's get up here and get a rectangle shape right there. And we're going to put this rectangle right over here. That's pretty good right there. Now, don't type in that. Up here in the formula bar is where you want to type. You're going to tell it to equal whatever's in this tank level right here. And now whatever's typed in this tank level, or whatever appears in there, is going to appear down here. Let's go ahead and make it look a little better. Let's center it up. There you go. And make it a little easier to read. We're going to make the font about 18. That works for me. Let's go 18. Bold it up a little. All right, now hit your control 1 to bring up your formatting. Let's transparent background with no line. Now, get rid of this. Find my scroll buttons. Start off right here with, say, 50% tank level. And as the tank level drops, you see when it gets down to 30, we'll start getting a warning on it. And when it gets below 20, we get an alert on it. Hope that helps somebody. Have a good day.